Welcome back to the Five Nights at Freddy's level of the Hall of Origins. Today, let's take a look at someone who instantly became a fan favorite. There are certain characters among the Five Nights at Freddy's games that stand out more than others. Sometimes it's their design, sometimes it's the mystery surrounding their appearance, but in the case of Roxanne Wolf, it's her distinct personality. Roxanne Wolf made her first appearance in a game not many would expect, Freddy in Space 2. Before the game came out in 2019, Scott Cawthon released this photo online of Freddy in a dramatic hero stance and a very curvy Roxanne Wolf in a seductive pose. Of course, at this time, it wasn't known what her name was yet. In fact, YouTuber Daco was coming up with his own names for her.
Wendy. It's a nice W name for a girl, Wendy. Wendy the Wolf. Let's just call her Wendy for now, okay, guys?
Unfortunately, she didn't appear in Freddy in Space 2 as a character. However, we didn't have to wait long to find out what this new person's name was. The following year, in 2020, a list of Funko products was released, and one of them was named Roxanne Wolf. At the time, it did seem a little weird. You know, with the absence of long-running favorite character Foxy, and now a new similar character appeared almost like she was replacing him. In fact, there were early rumors going around that Foxy and Roxanne were the same character. Foxy was just remodeled into Roxy. Wait a minute. Foxy? Roxy? Did they do that on purpose? Huh. You know, you never know with this series. However, with the delay of Security Breach, the first time Roxanne could be playable was in Fury's Rage. In this game, Roxy has more of a tough biker chick look. I feel like Roxy is the worst to play as in this game. She's much slower than the other characters, and her attack doesn't provide much range. Because she uses her knee, she has to be really close to do damage. Fun fact though, the voice of Roxanne in this game is provided by Michelle Amos.
Ferocious!
Now if this voice sounds familiar, it's because she also voices Ballora in Sister Location.
I can hear someone creeping through my room.
The next year, when Security Breach was released, it's not long before you encounter Roxanne for the first time, and you immediately get a sense of what kind of character she is.
Your performance was perfect tonight! Thank you. Your hair is beautiful. Your tail is beautiful. Everyone was watching you. Everyone loves you. Everyone wants to be you. You are the best. Thank you. I am the best. I am the best.
Yeah, pretty much Roxanne Wolf's defining trait is the fact that she's very narcissistic. Even when you come across her throughout the game, she is often praising herself.
I bet I'm your favorite. Want an autograph?
That's voice actress Martha Septic, by the way, and she does a phenomenal job bringing Roxanne to life.
Why are you hiding from me?
Martha's no stranger when it comes to voice acting in the FNAF franchise. She also voices Gregory and Vanny, as well as Mystic Hippo in Help Wanted 2, and all of you Valorant fans know her as the voice of Vice.
If it were up to me, I'd have Raze rig this place with explosives and send it crashing into the void.
So even though Roxanne thinks highly of herself, as events go on, her positivity takes a turn after you take the elevator up to her green room and come upon her crying to herself.
I'm not a loser.
This event honestly makes Roxanne an extremely relatable character, implying underneath all that vanity is someone who suffers from poor self-esteem. Dang. You know, love it or hate it, you gotta admit that Security Breach has brought to the table the most realistic characters to date. I mean, you know, because back in the day, none of the characters really had a concrete personality, so I think that's pretty cool. And by the way, I like how when I'm gathering this footage, Freddy's just over there like, "You're doing great, superstar!" Roxanne's corner of the Pizzaplex is a little place called Roxy's Raceway. The only bummer is that the racetrack area and most of the surroundings are under construction. But the part of it that still looks pristine is the salon area. I mean, it does make sense with how vain Roxy is, that she would have an area to make her and her customers look good. Also, can I take a moment to say that I love the theming in this area? With the canyon aesthetic worked into the raceway, it kind of reminds me of Cars Lands at California Adventure. I just like what they've done with it.
Hey, I'm Roxanne Wolf. If you're looking for high-speed motor mayhem, Roxy Raceway is the place to be. Sign up today and be a winner. Nobody likes a loser.
This love for racing is showcased when we take a look around Roxy's green room. Several tires, steering wheels, and wrenches decorate the walls, as well as a racing cart, which is more than likely used for guest photo ops, I'm guessing, and an arcade machine with the creative title of Drive. Sounds like a generically fun time. I have to admit that the Roxy boss battle is a little disappointing. Not the second part, mind you, but the beginning. I think a lot of fans, when they saw Roxy Raceway, thought that we would actually be able to control a go-kart and maybe have to race Roxy one-on-one. But once you get behind the wheel, it's just a cutscene where Roxy jumps down in your path and Gregory jumps out to allow Roxy to get hit by his cart. And they really want to hammer this home by showing different angles and close-ups. Man, Gregory takes no prisoners. But afterwards is where the battle gets much better. You take Roxy's eyes, and then you're thrown into a sequence where you have to navigate through a few rooms, all the while avoiding Roxy. This is one of the best parts in the game. You have to maneuver around the area, making it to various doorways that are boarded up. You stand in front of them to get Roxanne's attention, then move out of the way so that she can burst through them. And once you get to the area with the fire, it really adds to the tension to make it to the room's exit. And for the life of me, I can't even guess what this room is even for. Yeah, the Pizzaplex just has a random incinerator room, because why not? Actually, that sounds like something they would totally have. So why did we do this to her in the first place? Well, if you upgrade Freddy with her eyes, he now has the ability to see where all the collectibles are through the walls, and even uncover the secret discs that only become visible to him when you're in range. This also allows him to see Vanny during one of the game's endings, where before she appeared invisible to him. But back to Roxy. The routine has changed now. With the loss of her eyes, Roxy now operates off of sound. The best strategy to use here is to move around a bit so she can hear you, and then as she starts to run in your direction, immediately move out of the way. However, if you don't move at all, then she can't find you. I am literally a few inches away, and she walks by and absolutely nothing goes on.
I can still hear you!
Roxanne just walks around crying and tries to reassure herself that she's not a complete disappointment.
Everybody still loves me, right? I am still beautiful.
So even though it's much easier to evade Roxy, there is also another defense that you have against her. If you equip Freddy with Chica's beak, Freddy is able to emit a loud noise that will cause Roxy to run in the opposite direction. This technique actually becomes necessary during the final battle with Burntrap. When Roxy comes into the room and starts chasing you, Chica's voice box is the only way to get her to leave. When Security Breach's DLC, titled Ruin, was released, we got even more insight into Roxanne Wolf. We now play as a new character, a young girl named Cassie, and it's revealed through visual storytelling that she has a past with Roxy, with a few scenes sprinkled throughout with the two interacting with each other. We first encounter Roxy in her salon as she sits at one of the stations, still distraught at her mangled state. Speaking of which, things have gotten a little worse since Security Breach. She's now lost even more of her face and is primarily just down to her endoskeleton except for a few areas, like her legs and right arm. I do like that she still has her iconic green lock of hair though. Now Roxy continues to pursue you in this game, mainly because she thinks Cassie is Gregory, and she's still bitter about being slapped in the face with a motorized vehicle. I mean, as one would. And this leads to this scene.
Give me back my eyes!
Ah! Let go! Let go!
Sorry. Error.
This is an interesting reveal, because at their core, the Pizzaplex animatronics were created to entertain and be kid-friendly. So it makes sense that when she sees Cassie, she defaults back to her original programming. Unfortunately, this theory doesn't entirely hold up, because you can still get jump-scared by her. But some might make the argument that you caught Roxy off guard before she had time to process things. It's a possibility, I suppose. Now, throughout this whole thing, Gregory is communicating to Cassie through a walkie-talkie to deactivate security nodes, and he then tells Cassie that the last node is Roxy herself, which then leads to this scene.
Cassie. Cassie. Welcome back, Cassie.
You remember me?
Your special day. I remember. Your special day. Do you still like carrot cake? It has been some time since I saw you last. If I remember correctly, it is on the 11th. I remember because you are number 1. Twice. Have you booked your party? I'm sure your friends will show up this time. Cassie? What are you doing?
So sorry.
I love carrot cake. Happy birthday, Cassie.
Roxy. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Man. You know, when I booted up Security Breach Ruin, I was not expecting to shed a tear, but wow, this scene. I mean, and not to immediately change the tone, but I'm not exactly sure why she's under a forklift or how she got under a forklift. And I don't think it's ever explained. Maybe it's only so YouTubers like me can make this reference.
He tried to kill me with a forklift, huzzah!
But you can't keep a good wolf down because Roxy appears again at the end of the game to protect Cassie from the approaching mimic.
Cassie! Get out of here! Run!
We next get to see Roxy in Help Wanted 2, where she is featured as one of the main animatronics on the title screen. She also has her own segments in the Salon minigame, where you're tasked with doing Roxy's makeup to get her ready for her next performance. Unfortunately, she can be very demanding.
Pay attention to me.
And I have to question some of her choices, because a lot of it just doesn't go together. But then again, that's what makes a true artist, right? Also, there is another mode where now Roxanne is in her shattered form and you have to apply makeup to her endoskeleton. When she gets frustrated, grab the walkie-talkie that has pre-recorded Roxy dialogue praising herself and it will calm her down. But interesting enough, at the end of it, she asks for the mask that she wore in Ruin to be applied to her face. Upon doing this, she will then question where Gregory is, as if she is about to go looking for him.
It's mine. Now leave me alone. I need to think. Where could he be hiding?
This whole thing implies that this event happens a little before we encounter Roxy in Ruin.
Gregory.
I think Roxanne Wolf surprised everyone with how popular she became. Heck, I would probably say she's in the top 5 favorite characters in the series. And hey, there are so many fans out there that express their love for the character in a variety of creative ways. From animations to cosplay, the fans adore her. Heck, even a lot of the employees of the Pizzaplex are fans of her, as lots of security offices have pictures of her framed on the desks. So I think we can expect to see much more of this rock star wolf and her engaging personality.
Thank you. I am the best. I